Everybody, we are back with another podcast. Oh, and before I forget, I want to go on and lay it out now at the beginning instead of at the end. We got that man Blue.
You know what it is? I'm here.
He's talking to his mom or something. We got that man Cam in the house.
Hey.
And we got that man Jay in the house.
What's up, yo?
But what I want to say first and foremost, because I know a lot of you guys don't last until the very end of the podcast, everything is in the description box. If you want to watch the video version of it, check out the YouTube page. If you want to listen to it on the go, check it out on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. I finally fixed it, y'all. Stitcher Radio now works if you guys want to use that as well as a podcast. All right, as a podcast platform. But anyway, we have a new topic today presented by that man Jay, and it's called "The Internet Gives Everyone a Voice, but doesn't teach us how to use them." AKA, who the hell are you? So Jay,
who the hell are you, though? But no, really. So, I mean, and
let
I think
Jay take it away.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty obvious, with the recent election. I mean, we don't have to like tiptoe around the fact that we are on more than likely on one side of the political spectrum than another. But it's interesting because one of the main things that I saw come out of this election was like this huge surge of people who were willing to hop on the internet, get real emotional, and just start popping off about, just anything that they'd read anywhere. One of the most like prevalent lies, or well, not even lies, one of the most prevalent things that I saw on the internet was, I don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's got blood on her hands, she has people killed, and all this other stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I know that you don't like, I totally get if you don't want to vote for someone because you don't like them, but like the magnitude to which certain people can elevate that dislike is sometimes scary and often infuriating. And what makes it worse is the internet treats everything on a very equal basis. So like if I go online right now and I edit, well, I mean, you can't really edit Wikipedia anymore because they got people that's on top of it now. But like you go online and you type out an article or whatever, and you put it in the right place, people will reasonably believe you. I mean, before we just start the podcast, Cam was talking about how many times have like you get on Yahoo News or something and you check on something in the morning and you see news report, big celebrity died of heart attack while snorting coke off of prostitutes, whatever. And then it turns out like that guy puts out a Twitter post. He's like, "I'm not dead. I don't know where this came from." Like what is this? Why do people why do people think I'm dead? What just happened?
Like nowadays it's not as prevalent, but like that between 2012 to 2015 was when it was like at its peak, where it was like every other day you saw on your trending, you'll see a celebrity's name. You click the celebrity's name, it'll be like for instance, Ryan Gosling, or it's like fake news circulation, Ryan Gosling has died, or big, and it's usually in the black community. I see it more often where you'll hear about a big name black celebrity died of something, and you're just like, the fuck? And so it makes it really hard, and it makes the actual deaths of some celebrities like roll off, because it'll be like, oh, President Obama died of heart attack. You're like, oh, okay. And then you go look, you're like, oh, fuck. So
yeah, right. Like, and that's kind of been like the side effect of it. Like, you have to be willing to do your research, but you also can't trust things at face value anymore. Like, it's to the point where even when I see something truthfully crazy about what's going on with the current presidential administration, I always check like 2 or 3 different places before I like accept that it's reality. Because even people on the left will fabricate some stuff to try to demonize people, even though some people in Trump's cabinet do a pretty decent job of demonizing themselves. But there are still people out there on both sides of the equation, and even in the middle, who will say anything to get like internet points. Or I don't even fully understand why they do it, but it always makes me ask, like, who the hell are you? What are you trying to prove? Like, what are you trying to prove by typing up this fake news story or this fake article or this fake whatever saying that Clinton has like a sex ring and a piece? Did you guys hear about that story?
Yeah,
she had a what?
Yeah, so like there was a guy or somebody who made up it was a fake news story that Clinton had like a sweatshop or something in a pizza basement or something like that in DC, and a guy went in there who was a conservative or whatever. He went in there with a gun because he felt it was his civic duty to save the whatever in the pizza shop. So he walked into a random pizza shop with a gun, ready to shoot it up.
Pizza?
I mean, fortunately, I don't think anybody was hurt. And I think he was like detained, but not, or something happened. I don't know the full details of the story. All I know is he acted on fake news, and somebody could have got hurt.
Well, to cover the points you missed, like the biggest thing was it was a prostitution rink. That's what it was, and or at least that's what it was thought to be. And yeah, someone went in there with a gun thinking that they're gonna save somebody, and that's the problem with fake news, is that it endangers people who aren't really involved in it and puts people in a bad position, because someone's like, oh, this, I want to post this. And a lot of it came from back in the day with The Onion. We knew The Onion was a fake news site, and it was there to kind of like rattle people and say, oh shit, the world is ending tomorrow. Da, 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 da. So people go in, and Matt Pat actually hit on this, where it's kind of like clickbait. It's to get the clicks. It's to get the views. It's to get that sensational article out there to get your attention, and then to hold your attention throughout. So people run with that and are like, okay, well, this must be factual, instead of doing the research and actually saying, this is questionable. Let me make sure that multiple sources have the same thing. If they don't, then this is a fake. This may be a fake story, and I might need to just change my sources. Like, ultimately, it just comes from like people's laziness to like actively look into and research what's going on. So
I think that really doesn't matter, I've read it and seen it in a couple of other articles and places, that actually having facts and truth doesn't really mean all that much in America. They're just so quick to get information on just about anything, as long as you make it big and make it seem like it's something that's really important or shocking, like just shocking news and whatnot. And because I think when I was in one of my classes, which class was it? I think it was my justice and ethics class. We were talking about how, the media doesn't always bring out the truth, because the truth is dull in America for some reason, and everybody just wants to find some, the next shocking information. And it's different in we were watching two different videos of the news in America where something was happening, and the newscaster was just talking about a whole bunch of just random stuff, like saying, who the victim was, and who was the shooter of the situation. I forget what it was, and just throwing out a whole bunch of information and alternate facts that that obviously weren't the truth. But in Europe, it's like the news that they had, like when they were having the live news and trying to figure out what was going on. Yeah, it was dull, but they didn't want to say anything that wasn't true until they got the whole card, all the facts straight. And it seems to be one of the things that, again, goes back to the whole theory of mine that, the reason America is the way that it is, unlike other countries, is just that American dream, just making the money and trying to do what you can so that you can get big. And in this case, get all the views on your station. And in much cases, like the internet, people posting things that aren't true just to get all the clicks and all that stuff. And it's really tragic and unfortunate, because then you have a whole bunch of people that just get riled up off of fake stuff and do reckless things out in this wonderful country of United States.
Well, again, it's just laziness at this point. It's not even, they don't want to research, they don't want to look up, they don't want to find out or verify, they just want to assume. It's easier to say, okay, that's right, instead of actually typing 5 lines and saying, is this story true? We have websites actually go out of their way to verify stories that, because if you go through your Facebook timeline, I can tell you there's probably 3 stories that go on, and a lot of times people want these stories that further their agenda instead of the truth. For instance, again, I'm as bipartisan as it gets at this point. I don't go left, I don't really go right, but I will say, when people are saying, President Obama had all these failures, this. I'm like, look, President Obama did a lot for this country. Plus, he had a red ass Congress. He couldn't, after the bills he pushed through got dropped like hot potatoes. Now that Donald Trump's in office, his hand is going 20 miles a minute. He's signing every bill that comes across. Like, and I'm telling everybody now, you better watch out that the internet regulation bill's coming across that table too. I'm just saying.
It probably
Oh
is.
yeah, net neutrality.
It's coming across that table too. You better watch out.
Like, didn't he just sign the bill this morning about that whole that pipeline in Dakota thing to advance it?
Like, okay, like I want to cut you off, but like continue. I'll come back.
You good? I was just bringing that up. Go ahead.
Passion right now.
Because like let me tell you let me tell you something about this shit. So I have a friend on my Facebook, and he like when during Obama's presidency, he was the most passionate Republican ever. Like, Obama sucks, but he eats baby dicks and all this shit. And all this shit. So when this pipeline thing got passed, I tagged him in an article, and he's like, "Please don't tag me in anything Trump related. I've never been more tempted to avoid Facebook." I'm like, "Are you not mad at me?" I'm like,
hello?
And he voted for Trump, and he's like, I'm like, "Are you not mad about this?" He's like, "There's so much shit going on in the world that I'm not interested in debating any of it."
Yeah?
Oh, really?
Bruh. I was about to hit my boy stat so much. I'll put on my pants. I'm sitting here like, boy. And he's like, I'm like, really, this man has been on a signing spree. He's like, yeah, and people have been riding the street since before he stepped foot in the office. It's all hateful and arrogant. I want no part of it. It's like, what? I was like, you're the one who said, "Oh, I'm gonna turn the stove on and burn the oven," and then don't want no part of it. No, like, fuck that. Like, my parents were like, "You made the shit, you gonna eat it. Come on in. The food is hot and ready for you, bro. Come on." I was just.
It is so crazy because now, like, I don't have nobody that went that far, but I have plenty of people who I've seen who were, I can't believe Obama is trying to sign an executive order to let babies not be around guns. Who is he to try to keep babies from my guns? And now that Trump is doing all this crazy stuff, they're like, man, whatever. The government's not even that big of a deal.
Really? Exactly. They box their mouths in like a little, ooh. And then he was like, if the man were to stay in the bathroom longer than normal, the world would know. They'd have him under a magnifying glass. I'm like, and Obama didn't,
right?
And I guess Obama was just like Obama was Satan. Obama was the devil. Obama was just everything.
He should have gone back to Africa. Everything. Like, oh my goodness. And is that kind of like ties into it because. It's this hyper level of hypocrisy, and I don't want to solely attribute it to people of a Republican or a conservative mindset, though that is where I have seen it the most. I'm not about to sit here and deny that there are plenty of people on the left who were all pro Bernie Sanders, and as soon as all that crap happened with Sanders where he didn't get the nomination, all of a sudden they just like people do it on both sides of the equation. I think we're just seeing more of it because we now have a Republican president, but is crazy that all these people have been popping off for 8 nonstop years about how Obama is literally the devil. Everything he's doing is trying to destroy America. I lost my job and it's Obama's fault. My health insurance went up and it's Obama's fault. My car payment is too high and it's Obama's fault. And now we got a crazy ass president who has openly sexually assaulted people, who is literally a functionally crazy person, and they're just like, it's not that big of a deal. What?
Talking about we need to respect our president,
right? Like we need to give our president respect. Hello?
Okay. The same people that have been talking all this smack for the past 8 years for Obama talking about, we need to respect our president. Nah, get out of here.
Right. We need to hang him. We need the monkey in chief, this, that, and the other. And when we get somebody and what's crazy, I don't even know a lot of people who were openly negative toward Donald Trump until everything started coming out. Like a lot of people were like, I don't think he'll do a good job. He's a businessman, not a politician. I get people won't change, blah, blah, blah. Then the stuff came out with him and that tape with Billy Bush or whoever on the bus, and they were like, And then we watched all three debates and we were like, Then we heard him speak on his own and we were like, okay, guys, what are you doing? Because the whole time I'm all for these people, and there's people on the other side too. I'm not speaking on anyone in particular, but to everybody who is now trying to take this hyper pacifist mentality where it's like, well, I'm just going to sit back and hope he does a great job and helps the children of America build a better future. No, you can't. Like we no longer live in a time where that level of complacency works, because there are people, all kinds of people in our country, who are willing to propagate lies, spin alternative facts, and distort the truth actively for their own benefit. Like, you cannot inherently trust your government,
and no one questions it. No one questions it. They're
right.
like,
It's just okay.
Like, we have video of this man. Like, this man literally had to have a press conference from the CIA and say that's wrong. We had bit a lot more people. And when you look at the video, it's like, bit what? Yeah. Bit where?
It's like everything he said has, especially when he calls the media just like I guess unruly and just stupid or whatever. But pretty much all.
And it was very rude to tweet me on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, all they're doing, just like I've been following the Daily Show on YouTube as well. YouTube? And yeah, of course, and all they're doing is repeating what he said in the past. Nothing has changed.
That's literally all it is. Like, especially just me grabbing my information. I didn't really have to do much research because I've watched his speeches, I've watched his rallies and all that stuff. And then anytime when I saw something on Facebook that mentioned something that he said at the rally, I'm just like, oh, okay, that is something that he said. So this is obviously true. But, right. I mean, these are just live feeds. Now, if you don't watch the rallies or do anything like that, I don't know, like, how are you going into Facebook not knowing exactly what happened at these places, and then you're just going to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Or
like, everybody wants Hillary to ignore Clinton True Donald.
Yeah. But I also wanted to, on the same topic of who the hell are you, just wanted to flip it and bring it on to the, I guess, more the Democratic side. And,
I got some flames for them too. I got flames for everybody.
Everybody can get it. Like, I'm tired of people pretending like we're in an okay political climate. Like, no, shit is going bad on both sides.
Yeah,
let's not pretend like President Obama. I'm not about to sit here and pretend like President Obama was a perfect president. By no stretch of the imagination was he a perfect president. Was he a good president? Hell yes. Was he a great president? Time will tell. I'm leaning towards yes.
I'm honestly going to say he wasn't a great president just because. And again, when you ask any black person about President Obama now, like, a lot of them are still bitter because he didn't do a lot of the promises that he did. And again, as black people and as most people in general, as far as politics go, hold these people accountable. We need to hold these people accountable instead of saying, okay, all right, whatever. Like, when they're making all these promises during the campaign, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. No, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna fucking do it. If you don't do it, 3 strikes and you're fucking out. We need to start.
But you're 3, bro. We can't do no 3 strikes.
It's not ultimately. It's not ultimately up to the president, though.
Because Obama, he did have a whole Republican Party that was like completely against him and prevented him from doing absolute like a lot of things. Now, granted, I don't know if he was really like for the things that he said that he was going to do. I don't know if he actually, was actually trying to force and get a lot of those things done. But I do know that some of the things that some of them that he was trying to do, the Republican Party was just like, nah, we ain't having that. And he just had no choice. But in this case with Trump, he's just, like we were saying before, he's just signing things away because they're all Republicans. And he's just like, all right, well, they know what they're doing and I don't. So let's just get on with it. But I mean, just the way that like people's behavior is just overall this like the people destroying freaking Bacon of America and Starbucks. Like, come on, guys. We can't keep doing this.
What's funny is the protests were it was a awesome demonstration of the fact that there are a ton of people across the world. Like, I've never seen somebody get protested in multiple countries. Like,
no, that's something different.
There were protests across the world about Donald Trump being president. That's pretty severe.
And what's funny is, remember last time when Obama became president, there were celebrations across countries. People were like,
exactly, yeah.
Like, I remember back in 2009, it was like fucking like who could say your president was in a fucking manga? Like, and he was in a pretty big manga too. Remember Air Gear?
Yeah.
He was in that manga.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking. Yeah, no, I saw it. I was hyped to see it too. I was like, yo.
Like he was in the
everybody's happy.
He was a body of a teenage girl, but hey.
Well, I mean, it's manga. Like,
Yeah.
It's not gonna be normal. It's manga. They're gonna do something weird. But yeah, no, like, and what's funny to me is there's like this sense of like blind elation from people on the right, and this sense of like hyper doom and gloom from the people on the left, and it makes for the most confusing, like, a lot of what I think in regards to Trump being president currently is I'll just go on record, I don't care. I don't think he's intelligent enough to do as much damage as a lot of people are afraid he's going to do. I think he surrounded himself with dangerous people who can coerce him into dealing a lot of damage. But I truthfully don't think he's intelligent enough to, because he just doesn't exude intelligence to me. He just doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that he's president. Whatever. He does not seem like a smart person. So if left to his own devices, I think a lot of people are going to be screwed over, but I don't think the country's going to go completely in the shitter. That being said, some of the people that he surrounded himself with, those people are intelligent, and they're out for themselves at the expense of the rest of the country. And that's where my worries come in personally. But I mean, then you have people on the left and people who are liberal who are like, oh my God, Donald Trump he's president. When are the death camps going to start? And I hope I don't end up in a concentration. Like, really? Because it hurts the argument on both sides. Like, if you really want to stand up to an oppressive force, you can't hyper demonize them, because all it does is reinforce the people on the other side with the lies that you're actively telling. Like, at no point in time is Donald Trump going to be able to create concentration camps in America. Literally not going to happen. All you're doing is giving people who are supporting him more ammunition to say that, oh, liberals are whiny and whatever, and they're oversensitive and blah, blah, blah.
But here's the thing. It's really easy to do. Like, a lot of people...
No, it's easy to do. That's why I make the point that I don't think he's smart.
Like, no. It's like... It's not him that are making these things. It's the people, like you said, we surrounded himself with. You have people, again, who are like racist as fuck. And here's something that a lot of people, like, we're just now learning. Back in the day, like, the war on drugs was a war on black people. That's war on black people, Mexicans, and any racial people who use drugs. That's why, like, studies have come out and saying that we're the most targeted. We're the ones going to jail. We're because it's a target on us. I'll never forget. I was watching Campus PD. White kid gets pulled over, had a jar, like a mason, a big ass mason jar of weed. Like, this is on camera now, a ton. And I'm sitting here like, okay, this kid's done. Police officer's like, we're just gonna take this weed from you, and you go about your merry way. I was like,
hello.
So, but the thing, I guess I got to get back to it. It's really easy to do, because again. And something I'm realizing too, and something someone else told me back in the day, is like, as all of us in this podcast, we're middle class, so we're not going to see a lot of these things hit us as hard. They're going to hit us, but we're not the targets. The only ones that are getting targeted are people who are still trying to get up and out. So if I was 17 or 16, yeah, I'd be pissed off, because this is shit I'm walking into for the next 8 years. But I'm a college, like, again, or 4. Man, if
he wins the second election, I know people say, like, I'm leaving the country.
Well, I'll come back to my last point. Please remember that last point, because I'll forget it. But man, I'm telling, like the Democrats got to push somebody through. They ain't no bullshit. Like, dead ass. Like,
we need to start today, because if he wins the second time, I'm not even kidding, I'm out this bitch.
Hey, but what if he does good for us, guys?
If you don't take the
all this shit, all the good shit coming around. Like, seriously,
you gotta keep it positive, bro.
Like, seriously, all the good shit that's coming around is gonna be short term as fuck. It's gonna be like, okay, the pipeline got access. So during that time, our gas prices can probably go drop down to maybe 90 cents. And guess what's gonna happen?
Climate control.
Kaboom! There's an explosion, and all the oil leaks into the waterways of for the Indians, and everyone's gonna be with their mouth boxed in like, oh shit, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Like, but anyway, but like I said, it's really like the way they can do things is really easy. It's really easy to put that stuff in place and have it target people. Like, again, we're not the target. We're an easy demographic to target. All they got to do is say, oh, well, we'll make it harder for low income families to get education. Honestly, black people, Mexicans are people or black people and Latin American people are people who usually come here and aren't making on average $40K a year, if that. Those are the people who are going to be like, are going to struggle trying to make it to month. Shit, like me and my roommate had a conversation about owning a home. He's already signed a law that's going to make it 10 times harder for us to even have a home, to even get a house. So it's looking like it's going to be 8 years of renting until the next president comes in. It's like, hopefully Democratic, who could say, okay, we need to like fix this shit. But the biggest problem is going to be like Donald Trump is going to walk in on the coattails of Obama, and he's going to first off get all the accolades that Obama worked for. He's going to he's already repealing a bunch of shit that's going to negatively impact people down the line, and people are just sitting back, especially Republicans sitting back now, looking with their mouths boxed in, like, "Oh fuck, I didn't think he was going to do that," and no one's going to challenge him on it because again, we've become a lazy generation.
I honestly don't even think it's that we become a lazy generation. I think we've become an active generation, because laziness to me implies that you know that you should be doing something and you aren't doing it. Like I heard a lot of people say that the reason that they, or rather I saw a lot of people and also heard a few people who said that, well, I'm not going to vote because of this, that, and the other. It's like President Obama's presidency lulled our whole generation into a false sense of security, because we had 8 years of a mostly stable country. I mean, things would go crazy every once in a while. We had some horrific school shootings that really should have gotten more attention than what they did, but a lot of people in the gun lobby buried that and made it seem like it was everyone else's problems and blah, blah, blah. That's another topic for another time, because I'll go off on that shit. But we had a lot of instances where we had President Obama who was generally there to say, "I'm here for you, America. We will be okay." Like he personally consoled people who were afflicted by tragedies. He would go out of his way in terms of goodwill to do things, and I think it lulled us into inactivity where we're like, I don't really like the government, but typically this stuff turns out okay. And then we get probably one of the most dangerous people you could put up for election. And I think I heard people say basically that same thing, as though President Obama was still going to be there to come in, to step in and take care of stuff, where it's like, well, I don't want to vote because I don't like either of them, but Hillary's going to win. No, like that's actively throwing away your ability to influence the way that the country looks. And I think that's probably the unintentional side effect of President Obama's presidency, where we got used to things not going horribly, and now the floodgates are kind of open, and I'm hoping that it wakes up a lot of people. I mean, the million, and I just hope that we don't fall back into that level of inactivity again, where it's like, well, we marched, so now we wait. Like, no, it's going to take active resistance.
But here's the thing, and this is something I think one of the people in our past have said, like, marching and all this stuff is cute, it's nice, it's great, but the problem is like, we don't have a message, we don't have a goal, we don't have what we're striving for. Black Lives Matter doesn't have leadership. The reason why Black Lives Matter can get trashed as hard as it has been is because no one is stepping up to say, I'm the person that's in charge of it. I'm the spokesperson. I'm gonna set the bar straight. I'm gonna put these people in their place. No one wants to take ownership. No one wants to be the leader. No one wants to step up and say, and I guess you could say I'm being a hypocrite because, again, I could be the one to be able to say, hey, I'll be the one leading the charge. But no one wants to lead the charge. No one wants to make the change. We're all saying, let's change. But change what? What's our message? What are we going for? And that's the thing I can't stand is like, we're just making noise. We're making a bunch of noise and we're not making any changes. We're not making any progress. We're saying we need to invest in our community. Then we need to do this and do this. Then let's make it better. Instead of saying we need to give to the next generation to do it, we need to go ahead and invest now and say, okay, if we're going to do this, let's build infrastructure. Let's clean up the ghettos that we own. that are ours, that the United States has given to us and said, this is your shit, y'all take care of it. And instead of us pumping drugs into it, get the drugs out of there. People can make money any type of way outside of selling drugs. Go work in fucking McDonald's. Go do some work. If you want a better life, study. Build up where you're at. Like, put businesses.
A side note. I'm sorry to cut you off, Cam, but I want to. I'm gonna actually jot that down in the list. I want to talk about education, modern education, because it is super outdated and it does not work for our society whatsoever. So thank you for that.
well, like the thing with modern. I'll say this: it's not so much as modern education is not beneficial to our society. It's the fact that modern education, in the sense of what it needs to accomplish, isn't accomplishing what it was set out to do. So when you go to college or whatnot, you're expected to, like, okay, I'm gonna step out and get a job tomorrow, or you're supposed to be prepared to find the next job or find that position that you studied for, but those positions aren't there. They're looking for experience, and we all know that. We all know that song and dance. It's the same thing where, oh, you don't have experience, and this is. But again, we're gonna save that. I'm gonna save that topic for the next time. But again, like, as far as what we need to do, as far as like getting and move in, I guess, at least instead of all this marching bullshit, we actually need to start advancing ourselves and start saying, okay, if we're going to get back to where we were, we need to start investing in our areas. Like Chicago, Atlanta, all these places should be waiting on the great savior to come and build us up. No. Our mayors, our mayors, we need people who are in for our self-interest. Our mayors need to come in. People we elect as mayors and say, look, we're going to make it to where that these people, we're going to start building towns and building places here that can move money around. We're going to grow crops in our areas and get things going in our areas, because again, we don't have control. At the end of the day, we're on borrowed land. We don't have anything. Honestly, we don't. And my rage is subsiding. So,
but no, I mean, I definitely agree. I think one of the biggest lies that has been told to our generation is that is honestly just that line, like, it's okay or we're done. Like, I think we have come through an educational system and a school system and come into a society that can look back at the struggle of things like the civil rights movement and things like that and be like, it's great that people fought for us to be here today. But I feel like, and it kind of ties into my education, which, I mean, as said, we'll get into next week, of course. But I mean, for everybody who likes to downplay the gravity of the civil rights movement, keep in mind, there was so much hatred for it that they killed Dr. Martin Luther King. Like, that's the reality that they were dealing with. It wasn't one of these, we're going to march and then we get to go home. No, they were out there every day. They were protesting. There were sit-ins, and people were retaliating. Buses were burned, churches were burned, because people wanted equal rights. Like, and it's crazy to think that people can be so almost cartoonishly evil, where it's like, you know, you think that the concept of human decency would apply across the board, but it very clearly doesn't. Things that seem like common sense to you and I and everybody in our chat and all of our, truthfully does not occur to other people. There are actually people still living in our country who think that people with darker skin than them are lesser than them because of their dark skin.
But the thing
live in minority communities are doomed to live there because that's where they're supposed to live. And we don't acknowledge that exists. So, well, our generation rather hasn't acknowledged that kind of mentality still exists. So when it rears its ugly head in the form of someone like Donald Trump getting elected, like, people have been popping off and going on, well, he lost the popular vote, blah, blah, blah. The people that put Donald Trump in office are people from the center of the country, rural Americans, and predominantly white, wealthy men and women who are going to benefit from what I'm sure are going to be incredibly egregious tax breaks for people above a certain income bracket that's going to screw over people on the opposite side of the income bracket. Like, those are the people that put him in office, because everybody from that point on down thought that it wouldn't matter because they assumed that it was a foregone conclusion that he would lose, and here we are today. Like,
and I'll even go I'll go a step further and even say that one of the bigger problems that came about with it is the fact that there's this hatred of just like you said, of just brown people, black people of that other race, to the point where it's like, I will cut my own arm off just to make sure that you don't grow. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, as far as we need to work on ourselves, is because wait,
hold on, Cam. Quick side note. If anybody out there is doubting that, do not forget that Congress literally shut down the government 3 times in 1 year because they didn't want to deal or didn't want to approve a budget that President Obama. They literally stopped the government from functioning because they didn't want to approve something that President Obama pushed forward until they could tailor it to their needs. Literally, like, I have family members who are government employees. They lost money because people in Washington, D.C. did not like something that our black president was doing. That's the reality that we're living in. This is not one of those things where it's like, oh, well, yeah, Obama had a contentious House and Senate, but it's okay. No, they literally shut down the government. Like, the only thing that I'm sorry I cut you off so extensively, Cam, but just one last thing. Like, the only thing that I hope Donald Trump actually goes through on is somewhere in his 100 days, he said he wanted to introduce term limits for the House and Senate. We need that like yesterday.
We need that ASAP, Rocky.
like, because these people who are just sitting in the House and Senate and building and like kind of like sitting there steepling their fingers and curving and culturing America to look the way that they want to, because they're the ones who have a lot of the deciding power. We don't go out in the midterm elections and get them out of office. Like in 2000, what's it going to be? 2019, 2020, 2 years from now, whenever it is, or 1 year from now, whenever it is, when the midterm elections come out, I told Blue this the other day. I will drive to your house and drive you to a poll. I do not care. I'm not gonna sit by and accept this excuse. Well, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It all matters. Every single vote that you are offered, you should take. It's basically a free way to complain. It's like Facebook, except that something happens. Like, for everybody who gets on Facebook and you go out there and you click share and you think you're doing something, go to the voting poll and tap the button on the screen. And guess what? You actually did something. And it may actually influence some change. Don't just sit on your ass at home.
And the thing is like, people need to quit having this mentality of like, oh, my vote doesn't count. Like, oh, da 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 da. It's like, look, it's like individually, as a single point, it like, I'll say this. There was like, during this election, there were a lot of states that were really like up in the air. There was a lot of states that are up in the air, and you know what could have changed that bit? You, the voter. If you went out and voted, you could have been that one that would have went boop and gave it enough to just push it and swing it over. But instead of putting in Harambe and being salty instead of being salty about like, oh, well, I don't want to vote for Hillary. I don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton because like she's the lesser of two evils. Fuck that argument. You know who you're voting for. Like, you went in your mind already and said, I'm voting for Trump because of X, Y, and Z. But to rationalize why I'm voting for Trump, I'm going to make it say, hey, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. No.
Well, I mean, there's also a third party in that as well. And I want to bring
They're not going to win.
Like, well, look, check it out, bro. I'm just saying, you don't want to waste your ability to vote whatsoever, though. You want to go out and vote, even if you have to do it early so you can not be in a line. But I don't know who posted the video earlier today. Cam, it might have been you, and you probably seen the same one. And I just want to throw this in there before I forgot. Apparently, the racism is so strong with certain people.
Drop that apparently. The racism is so strong.
Racism is definitely so strong with like poor white Americans. Like they even though they're not going to get a break from Trump being in office, they still vote for him over like Democrats because like they'd rather see like the loss on their side. Like, you know, with Democrats, they want what's best for, I guess, some Democrats want what's best for the entire nation, not just a certain group of people.
You actually can't even like completely say that, like, say the fact that Democrats want good for everybody anymore. Like, that's how fucked up.
Well, not anymore, but
like it's so sad. But keep going.
It used to be for the most part, but no, they rather like eat their own like hand and vote for like Trump. And he's not gonna come save you guys. He's like, people, whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever, and you just have like a low income, you're gonna be screwed. Like, everyone is going to be screwed. Like, he's not coming to save you.
If you don't have triple figures, like that's why I don't understand Republicans. They're like, oh, I want to vote Republican. Why are you making?
Why would you do that?
Are you making triple figures a year? Do you have a house in the hills? Then why the fuck you vote Republican? There are literally no laws that help you out at all. When you go to the doctor can say, you know what, screw you. I'm gonna charge you $800. That's why the Affordable Care Act went through. Like, yeah. Like I can't tell who else in this country wants to go to the doctor and say, you know what, I want the doctor to charge me $800 for them just to see me, not do any medical things, just to see me, and then after they see me, they can charge me again if I take a stay at the hospital if I need to for everything and nickel and dime me all the way. By the time I get done, I have to take out a second mortgage on my house for my health. Like
it's crazy because so many people who fall into this mentality. So one of the things that I've seen a lot from conservative people is that, even Trump said in his speech, the American landscape is littered with the corpses of old factories, like tombstones dotting the land. And that's how people have speech writers, because again, Trump isn't a smart person. He couldn't come up with that metaphor on his own. But one of the things he said was all the crime and the drugs and the gangs, and the concept of a gang is literally what most people do in terms of political party. I'm down with you no matter what. Like, what's that? We go in so and so place and we're gonna shoot at them. I don't like killing people, but I'm down with the gang no matter what. That's what people do when they vote blindly Democratic or Republican, where you say, this may hurt me in the long run, but I'm already standing over here, so I'm going to do it. Like, you rob yourself of your capacity for individuality when you are willing to say, despite the fact that our president is going to actively screw everybody in this country who isn't making 6 figures and 7 figures and all this other stuff, I'm still voting for him because I don't like the way she looks. What?
Yeah, it's just freaking ridiculous, bro.
And I can't, and I know that and I know part of the answer is not to demonize those people and not push them away, but I'll just be frank in saying I truly do not understand that mentality. Like, because if President Obama and Donald Trump had switched places and we somehow lived in the country, that wouldn't immediately bury Barack Obama for doing all the shit that Donald Trump has done. I wouldn't vote for president. I wouldn't vote for him just because he's black. I'd be like, no, he's crazy as hell. We need a different, like with Ben Carson. Ben Carson was crazy. Like, he didn't know what he was talking about.
And he's still crazy.
Yeah, he had like a quick moment of sanity when he was like, I don't know if I'm qualified to do this position. Then apparently somebody offered it to him again with like a Twix, and he was like, well, I guess I don't know why he accepted it. Because I honestly thought he was going to back down. I was going to be, at least a little happy about that, but whatever. But yeah, like this gang mentality when it comes to parties, like it's literally destroying the country by dividing people. But they're dividing. It's not like the government is enforcing the divide anymore. People are self-dividing, and people have kind of always self-divided. But people are like actively self-dividing on the precedence of ignorance, where I don't know what they're doing, but you guys told me not to like them, so I don't. That's basically what this boils down to on both sides of the equation, not just Republicans and not just Democrats. Like, on both sides, you told me not to like them, so I don't. Like, I really want to sit down with a person who voted for Donald Trump, and I don't want to condemn them. I don't want to shout them down. I want to honestly hear their rationale for why they did what they did. That being said, if you can't provide me with a good reason, I'm going to rip you apart. Like,
I honestly don't think that you're
right. But the thing is, like, they don't have a good reason. Like, every reason,
and that's why I want to sit down with them, because I want to be able to help bring light to the fact that you didn't do this based on any logic. You voted with pure emotion, and we cannot run the country off pure emotion. We can't do it because
but we can't.
We end up.
But now we can because of damn fucking like literally we have a president that who gets in Twitter wars literally. It's like he took office. Like, he even said in the crowd, he was like, "Does everyone let me keep Twitter? Everyone wants me to keep Twitter. I'm going to keep Twitter." And literally, he just went into a Twitter tirade with anybody who dislikes him. And that's terrifying. That's terrifying because it takes that type of mindset to start doing things that start like looking like fucking China. Oh, you don't like the political views of the country that you're in? Maybe we need to start taking away some of your rights. Like, again, like I'm not a fan of people burning the flag, but you know what? That's a right. That's a right that people have fought for. I want that right I want that right to stay a right. Not no, oh, we're going to start punishing people who do it. The fuck you like? I remember I had gotten into an argument with somebody about that. I was like, why the fuck would you do that? He's like if you don't like this country, da 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 da. There's like,
yeah, that bullshit. If you don't like it, you can get out. If you don't read the damn Constitution,
and then on top of that, I'm like, that's their right. That's a right that they like. Well, it shouldn't like. Well, they did it. It's like no. That's a right that you have too. The fact that you can even say I don't like President Obama is a right. Love the right that you have. Like that's something I literally that will trigger me. It's like if you go in and start saying like, oh, I don't like President Obama this or I don't like this. It's like, all right, cool. But I think they need to ban people who are stepping on the flag and whatnot. You're gonna get slapped. You're gonna get slucked. You're gonna get snuck, son. Because
the quickest backhand you've ever seen.
Like I'm gonna be like,
get clipped.
Bro, I'm gonna be like, bro, you just can't do that. I know where you're coming from. I understand. There are people who died every day due to the wars and the countless things to make sure that the rights that you have are here, that parents and friends and family have been torn apart by what America stands for and what America does stand for and continues to stand for. Believe me, I believe that with all my heart. I do have family members in the military. I have family members that are overseas and doing whatever. But the thing is because of that right that you have to voice your opinions, to say, I'm not happy with the government until something changes, and I will not be happy with the government until something changes. That's a right that you, as an American, have that you could say that no one else really has, no one else truly has. So enjoy that right. Enjoy it and love it. Don't just demonize everybody who says, oh, I don't like this in America, so blah, 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 burn the flag. You say, you know what? All right. Do like me. All right. Like, you don't like it? All right. That's it.
Yeah, like what's crazy is there are people actively signing away rights that they exercise every single day, just because they don't like the people that are. I mean, because I agree with the flag burning thing. I can understand patriotic, but one of the things that we're guaranteed by this country is the right to be unpatriotic. Like. We can argue with our government because the government is supposed to be for the people, which is ironic because Trump said in his president, today is the day that America is for the people again, immediately signs a bill that's going to kill some of the people in America, that has the chance to kill some of the people in America, while being supported by a Congress and House that has repealed universal health care. So some of these people who were all excited about it, oh my God, yes, Obamacare is gone. Now we got our ACA. Well, it's the same thing. Oh gosh.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So, with the ACA, when it got it didn't get axed completely. It just got neutered. That's essentially.
No. I know it's still there, but they want to neuter it. They want to axe it completely. They just don't have a replacement yet.
No, they actually do.
They do have a replacement now.
They actually do. The replacement isn't that bad. Here's something I've actually again. The replacement that they have for it, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the Patient Freedom Act or something like that. Anyway, basically it's all the beauties of Obamacare without the shit of Obamacare, because what they put because the Congress made those exceptions to Obamacare to make it unpopular. So when Trump came in, he's like, okay, we're going to get rid of all the dumb shit in there. So the whole, you have to have it. That's no longer a thing. It also, I think it puts everybody on it automatically. So everybody's putting in money into it. And that way, you're still getting coverage. And then I think you're still, if you're 26 and on your parents' healthcare, you still are on there. So again,
okay. I see. Now it came out. Well, I see this went up yesterday. Well, the news I see is from yesterday. So, but yeah, no, okay. I'm glad they have something to replace it because when he took office, just before he took office, when they announced they had gotten enough support to repeal it, I didn't hear anything about this plan. But no, in that case, and this is an example of not being so heavily entrenched on one side or the other.
Exactly, and that's also
this honestly sounds like a good idea. And even President Obama said, "You can repeal my shit. If you do something better, I'll campaign for you." It's about helping people. That's what this comes down to. To the people who were possibly going to lose all their health care because we hate Obamacare and I want this shit out of here. There are people, I heard people, I literally saw in a video, and I'll try to find it on YouTube, and maybe TJ, you can link it, but I saw a video where this guy was interviewing people on the street and whatnot, but he was interviewing them about the concept of universal health care, not Obamacare, or rather not the Affordable Care Act, not the Patient Freedom Act, not just the concept of universal health care. And he asked multiple people, would you be willing to take a 2% increase in your yearly taxes to help our country construct a universal healthcare system that guarantees basic healthcare and preventative care for other people in the country? Like, half the people were like, no, that's not my problem. What? Like, and I think it's one of the things that the internet insulates us from, where you can have this mentality where it's not my problem until it hits my family. Just like, I mean, I'm not going to make a straw man out of people who have been afflicted by gun violence, but I know people who have been all pro-gun until they lose somebody in their family to gun violence. And all of a sudden, we need to get the guns off the street, guys. It's dangerous. The fact that you lost someone close to you doesn't change the fact that has been the case for the longest time. It
shouldn't take a major event to be like, okay, now we need to do something. No, you should have been in the front lines of saying we need to start looking at ways to prevent people from getting access to guns as easily as they are. But the one thing I will say with a gun, and I'm not gonna go into it too much, is that there are laws out there to prevent people from getting guns. But the problem isn't in gun stores, it's gun shows where you don't have to have those stipulations to get a gun. You literally can say, can I buy a gun? Yeah, sure. Cash under the table, you have a gun. That's the issue, and that's the problem. Not so much as there needs to be a law and a target on those people, and not gun shows, and not gun shows, but not gun dealerships or places that are actively doing what they're supposed to, and not against the American people. We need to target gun shows. Like, enough of that shit. But anyway, I digress. Continue.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess to kind of bring it back around, since Cam and I got a little hype playing off each other a little bit there.
Raging.
and fueling off with the other's rage. It's the internet has definitely created a climate where you can insulate yourself from alternate opinions and still be reinforced in your alternative facts, since that's apparently now the term that we use in America for lies. So it's and it's scary, but it can also be prevented by, just like Cam said earlier, just do a little bit of research. There are websites that are dedicated to putting out factual information, and don't let our crazy ass president start trying to slip it into people's heads that major news networks are somehow fake. They definitely have biases. Fox News is definitely conservative. MSNBC is definitely liberal, but there are also plenty of reputable news sites and news organizations that stay snugly in the middle and will report on something that's going on no matter what. If it feels like your side is under attack from one of these more neutral places, it's probably because the people in charge of your party are doing some crazy shit. Like, if you, like, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the saying, like, if you meet an asshole in the morning, that guy's probably an asshole. If you meet an asshole everywhere you go, you're probably an asshole. Like, if it seems bad in one instance, then it's probably just one instance of bad. But if it always seems like you're under attack, you're probably the problem, because people don't just randomly attack one another over indignities like, they don't just shoot from the hip and do it. So, I mean, get out there and do some research. Stop being so lazy. Read a book. Buy a Kindle. I don't know. Like, just do more. I would like to see our country and our generation do more in terms of informing ourselves about the way that our government works and what we can do about it, because I sincerely hope we never see another voter turnout like what happened with this previous election. I don't even care what the results would be. I just hate the idea that I saw so many people our age who thought it was okay to not exercise their right to vote just because they were throwing a hissy fit about who the candidates were. If you don't like the candidates, pick the one that's not going to possibly screw the country, and then get it in your party's face and be like, you better do better next time. This is unacceptable. Just like I expect conservative people and liberal people to be in the face of both their respective parties and push them to get somebody better, because who we have right now does not work. That's all I got to say.
Cool. We're gonna go on and wrap it up. But, all right, y'all. Again, follow the podcast. If you guys want to be on the podcast, or if you have any questions for us, Hashtag tjrages. Everybody's information will be in the description box. We ain't complaining. We just saying we out.
Okay, bye.